What are you doing, guys? My name is Feeds. Welcome back to Feeds Mindset episode 38 with the man Muggo. Hi, Muggo. How are you?
Hello, I'm good, thanks, bro. How are you?
I'm doing well, man. I appreciate your time being here today. It means a lot for you to just kind of take time out of your day to be able to talk about you and your story and stuff.
Yeah, bro, I'm excited. It should be a good one. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. Before we get into anything, something I bring up on every podcast. I'm really big about mental health and networking. There's two big things I really try to focus on, and me and you are a part of the same team in the same community, NorCal. So that's kind of a mutual, mutual, relationship me and you have. But we don't know each other too well. I'm not saying that to like dumb down our friendship, but I say that
Unbelievable.
I say that because there's a lot of people that struggle in making connections and reaching out and playing with other people. So I just make a quick point at the very beginning, everyone, that if me and Mogo can do it and sit here and talk and not really know each other that well, so can you. You just got to get past that little barrier. So I always like bringing that up at the very beginning, so that way it kind of sets the tone for anybody that may have any issues during the podcast, and maybe it may help you.
Yeah.
So Muggo, kind of give me an idea of who you are. What do you do? Where do you stream? Kind of who is Muggo as of today?
Yeah, so I'm NorCal Muggo, so I'm part of NorCal Esports. I'm a 23-year-old content creator based in England in the United Kingdom. Um, yeah, I've been making content for what we in 2024. So I think my first YouTube channel, which cannot be found anymore, was in I think 2011. So
Jeez.
yeah, been doing it for a while, not necessarily being good at it for that entire time, but
Yeah.
yeah, main focus would definitely be Call of Duty. Um, I do like to play other games as well, so Call of Duty is kind of like the main, I don't know, ecosystem of Muggo,
Yeah.
should we say. But then I definitely play other games. So like recently Power World. Last year I played a hell of a lot of Hogwarts Legacy and Star Wars Jedi Survivor. I think most gamers dabble in Minecraft. I definitely do it twice a year, every 6 months. Um,
It's your daily dosage.
honestly, that was a big lockdown, Minecraft lockdown. It would never be topped, I don't think. Um, yeah, so yeah, obviously been part of Knockout since for about 8 months now. And then for the year before that, I was in Rising. So coming up to 2 years in the Knockout fan, which is awesome. But yeah, it's been a fun journey so far.
Yeah, definitely. That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, shout out to NorCal, of course. It's a team we're both a part of. I'm a part of Rising. He's a part of NorCal. It's a beautiful community. If you haven't tapped into it, you definitely should. Um,
100%.
it's kind of crazy. You've been in the game since 2011. Obviously, like you said, it's been a rough road, to get up to here. But I mean, that's definitely a lot longer than me because I started in 2016. Was my first ever content stuff, and I was a weirdo, man. I would go on GTA from like my first ever YouTube video, which again you can't find mine, but my first ever YouTube video I stole from it was GTA story mode, and it was a briefcase under the water, and I had like my iPhone 4 in a shoe on a shoebox pointing towards my TV, and then I was copying the same video I had just watched to help get more money in the game, and I was like, "Hi guys, it's Feet here. Today we're gonna be doing a GTA 5 video." I just recorded
Bro,
this
that's
like 6 minute
dedication. I love
span,
that.
and it got like 2 views, and then I was upset, and then I like privated it. No, like I'm not showing that ever again.
I remember I used to record on I think is it called the Hall Park HTTP VR? And at the time I did not have a TV that had a HDMI cable, which sounds nuts because I feel like I've had HDMI cables my entire life. I've probably got
Yeah.
about 20 in the box next to me. But I remember recording and it had the black bars and I had no idea how to edit when I was like 11, 12 years old
Yeah.
properly. So in those black bars sideways, I just wrote subscribe. So you had black background, white writing, bit of
That's
gameplay in the
crazy.
middle, and the gameplay wasn't great. I'm gonna be honest.
That's sick. Hey man, you make do with what you got, okay? It's
Well,
beautiful that you
exactly,
use the space that it gave you. Man, I was the same
exactly.
way. There's an app on your phone. It's called Cute Cut, and I actually bought, which back I think it's free now, but back years ago it used to be $5 for the pro version for life, which was a really good deal because it was only like $5. And I used my phone for like a straight like almost 2 years. If
Oh wow.
anybody knows me of my Call of Duty Ghost phase, Call of Duty Ghost is my favorite COD of all time. It's my first ever, well, aside from GTA technically, but it was my first ever game I really made content on. And it's where Feeds was created because that's where I got my name from, was Ghosts, because I like sniping and stuff. Excuse me, but that's where I started making content from it. So I would have my Xbox 360, and then I would record on a little rinky-dink laptop on that, and then I would throw the laptop footage into a Google Drive. I would download it to my phone. I would export it into Cute Cut Video, and then that's what I would do to edit my videos, and then I would throw it up on all my socials and stuff. And it was fun. Like for me, like it didn't bother me at the time, but now that when I look at the utensils that I have now and all the steps that I used to go through, like it's just mind blowing how much easier it is. And I mean, it probably could have been a little bit easier if I wasn't dumb back then, but you know, you live and you learn.
I remember like even so. When was this? This would have been so 4 years ago before I got this PC. I remember my old PC was terrible. I literally it was a custom PC, but I built it in 2015. So by 2020, it was very slow.
Yeah.
But it used to take me like a whole day to make a video. Like record it. It would take me ages to edit it because the editing software would crash or I couldn't watch the preview. Some of my old videos as well, I edited them without watching them. So I'm just gonna say I'm very proud of that. And then it would take like 7 hours to render like a 10-minute video. I remember getting this and banging out a video in like 4 hours, and I was just starstruck.
Oh
It's
yeah.
it's crazy, like the sense of achievement and the happiness that you get when you upgrade something in your setup is, I don't think it can be matched.
Oh yeah, man. Like you saying that actually kind of makes me think of a couple videos I used to do. I don't know if they're still on my channel anymore. I know my Outlast, which let me rephrase this. I did a Let's Play to Outlast twice. The first one I wasn't really happy with and didn't really pay much attention to it, and my setup was god awful. But on my Outlast and Final Fantasy 12, I did a small Let's Play series, and so when I would record those and throw them through Sony Vegas, I would actually record it, leave for either school or work the whole day, and so that way I could come back and it would be done, because it would take 3 to 4 hours. It would take 3 to 4 hours to render, so I would do that. Like I would wake up like an extra 30 minutes before work or school and do that, so that way it's done by the time I get home, so I can throw thumbnails on it and stuff.
Man, the level of dedication that we had to go through is crazy.
Yeah, it was crazy, man. It molded you to like being a gamer, man, you know?
100%,
It's kind of
100%.
crazy. But
I remember I was so happy when PlayStation brought out the share play feature where you could just record, put it onto a USB, and then I think I remember just using my iPhone as my face cam, just like sellotaping it to one of my monitors, so it was somewhat looked like I was a professional gamer.
Yep. Nope. I'm with you, man. I've been there too, man. I've had my phone at the top of my TV with a big old thing of duct tape, one on one side going all the way down the back of the TV, and the other one just like as little as I could get it so it didn't block my view. Yeah. I've been there.
And it falls off.
It's crazy. But yeah, so you know, we talked about you've been roughly a variety creator to an extent, but obviously Call of Duty is your biggest one. Would you say Warzone is your main content, or just kind of COD in general is your main content?
So since I started doing like YouTube content or anything, it was always multiplayer. I always have been a multiplayer boy. I did some stuff on zombies ages ago, more like how-to guides and stuff. And honestly, when I say ages, it was like Black Ops 3. Yeah, obviously I've done Warzone content. I stream Warzone every now and then. Definitely going to be playing it for season 2. Cannot wait for that. But no, I'd say multiplayer's at the core. But I have a lot of friends that play Warzone, so I don't mind hopping on it. I'm definitely not as good at Warzone as I am on multiplayer.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I agree with that. I'm the same way. Like, and I mean, you know, we've played together, and you know, everybody knows that I'm kind of I'm not like in an ego way, but like everybody knows that I'm a good sniper. You know, like that's what I do. That's what I love doing. And so like I like playing on Warzone when I could use a sniper, because like it's satisfying to me to kind of be like the sniper of the group. But if I'm ever like on my own in like a 1v1 situation or something, I'll probably lose. I'm bad. You know, like if you're not like 200 feet away, I'll probably die. So it's like it's good, but it's bad, because like it's good to be a sniper, but like to only be a sniper has like plenty of downfalls.
Yeah, no, I hear that. I mean, I definitely don't snipe on the current Call of Duty, and when we played, you were hitting some nuts shots, to be fair, which I cannot do that anymore.
Yeah.
Give me OG Rebirth and maybe, but yeah, no, I definitely hear where you're coming from, bro.
Yeah.
At least you give it a try, though. Hey, that's
Yeah.
the main thing. At least you give it a try.
Yeah, that's true. I've barely played that much Warzone, really. Like probably like a couple weeks after me and you had played, I'd kind of slowly stopped, and then Ranked came out, and that's where most of my content had went to ranked sniping. Just kind of took off for me.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I just kind of wanted to talk about, those current things and stuff, to kind of catch up to date, who you are now. So let's kind of go ahead and travel back in time. Kind of take me through, not per se like your childhood, but like the gaming side of things. How did you get into gaming? Obviously you said it's been, 2011 when you initially started creating content. So how was that like coming up from a kid getting into gaming?
Yeah, so so my nan and granddad, they still have the house, but we had like a big family house. So when I was younger, I basically moved in there with my mum, and my uncle lived there, and he was quite into his games at that point. When I tell you this man on the original, was it the original Xbox? It might have been the first ever Xbox 360. He had it's not Skyrim. What's before Skyrim? Oblivion. When I tell you this man had every single DLC you could imagine, he's probably spent more money on that game than I have on Call of Duty ever. But no, I just used to play games with him, watch him play games. I very much got into games like Assassin's Creed and Fable. Fable, oh my god, I remember doing it must have been Fable 2. We did a playthrough where we didn't die. And yes, it wasn't just all him. I was involved in that. And yeah, it just just coming home from school, playing games with him when he was done with work, and I think it just progressed from there. I just grew up in sort of 20. When was it? I remember my first one. Right, it must have been in year 5 or 6 at school. Primary school. We went to my friend had his birthday. There is a point to this, and it does link to gaming. And his parents they're cool parents kind of thing. Yeah. And we went and we were sitting in the living room waiting to like go out for food or whatever. Mm-hmm. And he was playing Black Ops 1. I was terrible at it, but obviously he had been playing it on the PS3, and it was cool. It was cool. I enjoyed it. And then I started to get into Call of Duty myself, and then that's kind of where Call of Duty grew from. And then when was it? 2011, joined secondary school. Back end of 2010, 2011, joined secondary school, and just carried on playing, I guess. I think Black Ops 2 was out there, or MW3 was out then, and that's the Call of Duty that probably made me get into it. Like, I was playing a lot with my best friend at the time, and then Black Ops 2 came out, and the rest was history, because I absolutely loved that game, and that sold the franchise to me. But yeah, I'd say my uncles probably had the most influence. I remember when I was I must have been like maybe not that young, maybe like 6 or 7 years old. I went over to his and my auntie's for a sleepover, and I deleted his insane sim save, so I could make a save of me and my wife being Megan Fox. So it's safe to say he wasn't too happy. But yeah, no, I'd got to give big props to him, I reckon. And then it just spawned from there. Once I sort of joined secondary school, got my own PlayStation 3 at the time. I remember getting that. I did have an Xbox 360 as well, because obviously if you were going to make sniping content back then, you had to have an Xbox 360.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's where it happened. And then we carried on, played Call of Duty, or made Call of Duty content for a while. And that was kind of when FaZe was on the come up, and me and my mate at school who liked sniping were like, oh, these guys are doing it. Let's record some trick shots. But we had no money to buy anything to record.
Yeah.
We didn't even know where to start, to be honest. So we did it on our phones as well. But we used to do set up trick shots on Carrier. Is that what it's called, on Black Ops 2?
Yeah.
The DSR, and they were terrible shots, but we still put them on YouTube. And it's safe to say nothing happened with them. And then, yeah, just kept doing that for a couple of years. 2013, 2014. I think it was the back end of 2013 I started the channel that I've got now. And again, it was just gaming content back then. I think I did some GTA stuff like you were saying, feeds as well. And then, yeah, I just carried on doing Call of Duty. I went for a phase of, I did like 2 years worth of vlogs. I kind of just stopped the gaming content and just vlogged. I was still playing games. It was just... at the time it was like school exams, so people weren't playing as much as I may have wanted to, and I didn't want to do solo content. And then I got old enough to, get a proper job and have adult money, and now we're here.
Yeah. So the real question, going kind of a little bit back earlier, where you was talking about your uncle and the game saves, did you ever apologize? I don't think you
Yeah,
did.
I
I
mean,
don't think you did.
I mean, back then I didn't. I must have thought it was funny. I genuinely can't remember. I have apologized since, but
That's funny.
you can go over a sim save.
Yeah, that's funny, man. Well,
It wasn't a
if
big
your
one.
uncle ever ends up watching this, he apologizes and he does mean it.
Yeah.
So I wanted to go back to something you said before. You kind of baffled a little bit when you was talking about Fable. Was Fable a big game for you? Kind of going back in there.
Yeah, I mean, it was just those kind of story games that really got me into like the single player thing. And I think Fable 2 is a game that I watched my uncle play, and then I played it myself, and then we were like, oh, let's do a save together where we don't die kind of thing.
Yeah.
And that really got me into it. And then Assassin's Creed 1, Assassin's Creed 2. I would probably say that Assassin's Creed 2 is my favorite game ever. Granted, I haven't played it for ages, but I just remember like the feeling of happiness I got playing that game. It was just so good.
So have you ever
Um,
thought about running it back, like doing a kind of stream again where you play those and kind of remember?
I have, but my thing with that is, and it's, I mean, we could talk about this forever, but
Mm-hmm.
that's kind of why I don't want them to remaster Black Ops 2, because I don't want it to ruin my
Yeah.
thoughts of it. I don't want to like go back and play
Yeah.
Assassin's Creed 2 and be like, for its time it was great, but now it's terrible,
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Yeah.
But
No, I get
that,
it. It's kind
I'm
of
like,
like respecting, the past. I think that's kind of very important, because it is something that's sacred to you. And that's what I was going to ask, what I was going to ask, is there any other games that's really important to you? But obviously Assassin's Creed 2 was, seems like it was the biggest.
yeah,
Was there a certain reason why, or you just really liked the game, how it was
I
developed
just
and stuff?
I like the first game. I like the second one. I like the fact that you got the dual blades. That was the first game that you got the dual blades. That was really cool. And if you, what was it? If you completed it 100% and took out, there was something that you had to collect, but you ended up getting an all black suit with the dual,
Mm-hmm.
was it blades? Oh, it was just crisp, just crisp.
Yeah.
I'd say GTA 4 as well. That I remember playing that over and over again. I've got some very good memories and very bad memories of that game.
Yeah, I think it's kind of like, I don't really want to say like today's time sucked, but like going back then, to like completing games 100%, it doesn't have the same feeling anymore that it used to.
Nah, it's because I think nowadays, like there's gonna be more. So like
Mm,
100%ed, and platinum Spider-Man 2, but there's gonna be DLC. But
yeah.
back then, that was never gonna happen. You just get another game.
Yeah. Yeah, and
Like
it's
you got
it's like same thing with like with GTA 5, like when like about a month or so ago they brought out like all those leaks and this person's hacking into the system, blah blah blah, and
yeah,
then somebody leaked out that there was like 6 or 7 DLCs that was supposed to come to the game, but the game decided to not make it because they had made enough money already. And it's like, that's crazy, because it's like GTA 5 was a big game for me. It just like a lot of other people it was, but GTA 5, even though I love COD Ghost to death and it's my favorite series that kind of got me into gaming and COD in general, GTA 5, I can't deny it was my first game that got me into, COD Ghost was right after it, and that's where a lot of my time was, but GTA 5 was just the first game that I really kind of understood this space and what it is, and got into Instagram and understanding, hashtags and all that stuff and editing, and it was just a beautiful time. And so like now it's like whatever, but like little kid me back then, like if you would have told me there were 6 or 7 more DLCs that I could have made content of or just enjoyed it in general, because like back then obviously you was in a mindset where you enjoy things a lot differently today than you did back then. I'd have been thrilled. I'd have been thrilled if that came out, but it does kind of make me a little annoyed that they took those away simply just because they made enough money. Because like I don't know, I just feel like that's a ridiculous reason.
I mean I think it's a ridiculous reason as well, but unfortunately, that is what drives most games nowadays, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's all about microtransactions being a huge thing. Um, And yeah, it definitely sucks. But hopefully that means, they've got the ideas there, obviously. Hopefully when we get GTA 6, if it comes out next year, then, we'll get another 10 years of that, and then we'll get another 7 years of more DLCs. Who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows? We'll get GTA 7 when I'm 50 years old and a bit wrinkly.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy, man, to think that we was kids when it came out, and now we're full grown adults with our own places and our own lives. It's crazy.
Bro,
But
I've had GTA 5 on the PS3, PS4, and PS5. Granted, it's not a PS5 version, but I've played it on the PS5.
yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
that's
But I think
crazy.
One thing I will say though, like on the topic of GTA 6, I am very excited for GTA 6. I'm
Oh,
actually really, because one big thing for me. So with figure out how to word this with my I love doing let's plays and stuff, but with my content, I don't like really recording things that I've already done if I have like a good memory of it. And so with GTA 5, I was kind of really upset that I wasn't in the position to do like videos and let's plays and stuff, because like if I were to do it now, I already know what's happening, so it's kind of pointless. And so with GTA
yeah.
6 coming out, I can be in that setup to where like I can record the story mode and show it. You know, if it gets views and all that, it's great, but it's still something I can look back on, and that's something I wish I could have done, because like a lot of people don't really watch their old videos back, but sometimes I do. Like in my let's plays and stuff, I
Oh,
like
I do.
remembering how it used to feel.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I think this is I was actually talking about this today as well. It's like I'm like you. I'm super excited for GTA 6. I think it's gonna bring. I'm interested to see kind of how people approach content on it,
Mm-hmm.
because, like you say, like let's play. That's kind of expected. Like we'll probably see some
Yeah.
big creators do let's
Mm-hmm.
plays. I'm very wary of streaming it because there's definitely going to be stuff in there that's not going to be stream friendly,
Yeah.
and because no one knows what's going to happen. Do
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like my transition, I've got transitions on stream. They're not quick enough. So
Yeah.
it's very much going to be a probably play it offline, but
Yeah.
record it and have a good
Yeah,
time
no,
regardless.
I definitely know what you're talking about, because there's that one, which obviously I won't say it like in detail, you know, on here for YouTube purposes, but there was that one mission on GTA 5 when you completed it, and then you loaded up in the strip club, and it was like bam, it was like damn, and you
Yeah,
had to like figure out and switch up, and yeah, so like obviously with recording it is completely different because you can just cut that stuff out. But yeah, I definitely understand what you're saying, especially because you stream on TikTok. So even though TikTok seems a lot more lenient, like with music and stuff, but they're definitely way more family friendly than any other
yeah.
platform.
That's the thing. Like they, from what I can gather anyway, obviously don't tell me as the be all and know it all, but obviously streams don't save over there, so people can't go back and be like, oh, you were watching this or you was
Yeah.
playing this, I'm gonna copyright you, blah blah blah. But apparently they do use AI tools that scan the streams. So
Hmm.
if something pops up and it happens to be when your stream's getting scanned, you could just get banned.
Yeah.
Luckily, I mean, I don't do anything like that. I
Right. Of
play Call of
course.
Duty,
Yeah. I think it's
play
kind of
Power
like,
or whatever.
yeah, it's
But
like
I've
it's
seen
like
a
a
lot of
double
people.
edged sword, because like TikTok Live, like I'll give credibility to them, because TikTok Live is probably the best way you could possibly grow and get out there. But on the flip side of that, I feel like somebody could report you once and you'd get banned. So it's
Yeah,
like,
it's a little bit weird. Like I've
yeah,
seen so many people say that they've got live access and been banned like the next day. Like obviously, touch wood, that hasn't happened to me yet. Hopefully
yeah,
nobody wants to report me for whatever reason. I think I'm a pretty straight up guy.
yeah,
But yeah, no, it's definitely been good for discoverability. I mean, like obviously talking about Spider-Man 2, but I stream that single player content seems to do really well on TikTok. Um,
hmm,
I remember in the span of about 2 weeks on um Spider-Man 2 streams, I gained like 400 followers. I had my best stream ever. I averaged like over 200 views, which is kind of crazy to me. Um, yeah, it's definitely there for discoverability if you're tapping
yeah.
into the right
No,
the
100%. Because
streams.
like I was live on TikTok like 2 days ago. I was playing some ranked, and I put because there's like a lot of dead space on like I think it's the portrait mode, I think, where it's like up and down, and there's a lot of dead space at the bottom. So I put text and I said like equals better day, and when I ended my stream like 2 hours later, I had like 1,000 likes, just people liking the video just to have a better day. And it's like it's dumb, but it's like it's cool because it's like it's just a nice way to reach out. So yeah, so we've talked a lot about gaming and things that are important to both of us, and kind of come up. So let's kind of get into the streaming side. I know you've been making content for a long time. I know
Yeah.
that a good bit of your content is offline per se, recordings and stuff like that. But where did the streaming come in? Was Twitch your first time that you started streaming on something? How did that all kind of
Yeah.
come about?
So I might actually hold on, give me 2 seconds. I might actually be able to give you the exact date because I'm pretty sure it was October. I think it was like October 4th, 2020. I think that's my stream anniversary, if that's what we're gonna call it. But basically, no, like I said, obviously I mentioned that PC that I had. It was good enough, the one before this. It was good enough to um sort of make content, obviously very slowly, but I could make content, but streaming was not. not in the picture at all. And
Yeah.
then obviously Warzone came out. I think it was early 2020. And late 2020, I got a new PC. And I was playing it, and I was like, oh, I'm seeing a lot of people stream at the moment. Let me test it out, see how it goes. So I made a Twitch. Obviously, I already had a Twitch channel because I watched people anyway. But
Hmm.
I thought, oh, sorry. I thought let me give it a go. And yeah, I set up a Twitch stream. And I did that. Got to affiliate after a few weeks, which was awesome. And then I think I stayed on there for like it must have been about 2 years. And then I decided I wanted to move to YouTube streaming because I was like, you know what, I want to push for YouTube partner, and this
Hmm.
is kind of a new product that's come out. If they do invest in it, how everyone's saying they're going to invest in it, if I can be one of the first people on it, it could be really good. And it kind of brings my ecosystem into one place, which I like the idea of. I know
Yeah.
in this industry you kind of want to have a multi-platform strategy, but I don't know if it's an OCD thing or what. But it was cool having it all in one place.
Yeah.
Anyway, and then yeah, I did that for a little bit, and then Kick came out, and I was like, fine, let me jump on this bandwagon as well. If it goes down like a lead balloon, I'll go back to YouTube. I never thought. Um, I don't know if this is bad to say, but like I never with Twitch, like moving from Twitch to YouTube and YouTube to
Hmm.
Kick, I never had like not enough was happening on the platform
Right.
for me to say it's bad to move, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like testing out a new thing, I don't think that's very bad. And then I was doing Kick until it must have been like August last year. And then I went to Eurogamer, which is an event that we have here in the UK.
Mm.
And Norcal Martimer, shout out you. He got me like creator passes for the TikTok area as well.
Oh, that's cool.
So I went around the event, and then I just chilled in there with there was quite a few people in there that I knew, and just networked for a bit, and then TikTok kind of looked after us after the event. It was really cool, and I was like, you know what, I've been posting on TikTok daily for however long. Let me try streaming. And I couldn't because I was on like 950 followers, but as soon as I hit 1,000, I was like, oh, let me try and go live. And I
Hmm.
clicked on it in my phone, and it goes, oh, your account's been identified as a gaming channel. Here's a link to TikTok Live Studio. And I got it, and I was buzzing because I heard that it's hard to get a hold of that. And I
Yeah.
was like, brilliant. And then, yeah, since then, I've been streaming on TikTok.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's sick. Are you still going to do any YouTube streams, or are you just kind of focused on TikTok right now?
Nah, I think at the moment I'm focusing on TikTok streams and daily sort of short forms. I'm trying to implement stories a lot more as well because apparently they're really good, and
Yeah.
carousels, but that's kind of hard to do with what we're doing. And then over on YouTube, it's just long form and short form pretty much.
Yeah, I would say like I mean obviously, I've still got a very long way to go for myself, but I feel like that's probably the best advice I would give to any creator out there is regardless whether you're streaming or doing whatever on any other platform, I feel like YouTube should always be included, whether it's long form, short form, even if you
Yeah.
stream on there. I feel like YouTube is just kind of something really, really dumb if you don't keep that up with the rest of your socials because YouTube really and statistically is the safest option as far as you being successful at all because YouTube
Yeah.
is like a backbone.
I completely agree. It's like you can see streaming platforms maybe coming down for whatever reason, but like YouTube's never gonna fall down. Isn't it? It's owned by Google. Like
Yeah.
who's gonna go after Google? Let's be honest. Um, but as well, like realistically, say you're a TikTok creator and you're making short form content anyway,
Hmm.
just post it on YouTube. Like obviously you want to try your best to have unique content, but at least have something over there. At least start a channel, and they like new channels because they want to kind of prove the product. So a lot of people
Yeah.
blow up by making a new channel. I'm not saying get rid of your channel from 10 years ago or whatever, but if you don't have anything on YouTube, no presence at all, just start posting and see what happens.
Yeah, definitely. No, I mean I agree, and it's like with my specific situation, I so beatbox reactions was something that I loved doing, but I never really did like the reactions. I kind of was in the beatbox community, just kind of watching it as just like spectating it or a viewer. But here recently, so every year they have, it's called GBB, which is their world league of like the best beatboxers, and they go and compete to be the best in the
That's
world.
insane.
And so I promised myself, because I spoiled myself last year by already watching some videos, and I promised myself when this year's came out, well, not like this year, but technically like 2023.
Yeah.
When that year's came out, I promised that I would make content on it. And all my videos before that, I had like Clash of Clans, like playing that, and
Nice.
tons of Call of Duty stuff like that. And it was all content that I like doing, but they never did well in terms of like getting growth and getting better. Not like in the sense of like the numbers, but just to achieve my goals. I just was just stale. Like I was stable,
like
and
push
I wasn't.
yourself.
Yeah, I wasn't moving anywhere. And so I decided to finally jump the gun on my beatbox content, and I started doing reactions to, the competition and stuff. And my first two videos both hit like over 3,000 views, like instantly. And it's like, again, it's not like the numbers side of things, but it was a new direction I decided to take for my content. And it just went like, did better than any of the videos pretty much combined that I already had on there. And I think my point is, the beautiful thing about it is it's something that I wanted to do. I told myself when that time would come, I would do it. And because I stuck to that plan and did something that I was comfortable with watching, but not like recording and using it for content per se, ended up working out a lot better than I thought. And I think that's kind of very important, because I feel like a lot of people hold themselves back because they're like, oh, it's not going to do well. Oh, it's pointless. But like, you don't really know.
Yeah. No, I definitely agree. And I think it all comes back to just pushing yourself outside of, what you might deem the norm. Like what you're doing now, you might not be seeing, say, growth. Say you're in the Call of Duty, obviously it's huge needs, but
Bruh.
say you're not improving because you're just you've turned into a robot, right? You've turned into a robot on the type of stuff you're doing. You're not enjoying it as much. That's where you try and do something different, like you say, like the beatboxing stuff. It did really well. You enjoy it. That's why I like to throw in the single player stuff. Like, it might not do as well, but I enjoy it, and it helps me to avoid burnout. So screw it. If I'm doing single player content for 2 weeks, like, it's not going to hurt anyone.
Yeah, most definitely. And I think, just like I said, I think that's the important thing, because I wasn't, figure out how to word this. I wasn't going to stop if the videos didn't do well, but of course, just like any other person, when you record content and you put time into it and the thumbnails and throw it up and everything, you still get discouraged when it don't do well. So I think that's definitely the biggest important obvious factor, is when I saw the videos doing well, I'm like, okay, people actually want to see this. People actually enjoy it. And when I go on the video that did really well, my average view time was like 5 minutes. And it's like, for a lot of people, they're like, oh, 5 minutes is not a lot of time. But like, that's an average of all the 3,000 watching it. And it's like, I mean, it just does numbers. And it's reassuring and satisfying as a creator, knowing that what you produce, people enjoy.
Yeah, no, 100%, bro. 100%. It's definitely motivating. And I think a lot of people nowadays are going for, rather than being the brand of, hey, you're Muggo, the Call of Duty creator, you're going for the brand, hey, you're Muggo, the personality who happens to play a lot of Call of Duty, but also plays other games.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I think it was Tim the Tatman that said it. He said a lot of people nowadays, they don't want to be a content creator, they want to be a Call of Duty creator. And I think that's a big thing. Like, if you can't say you're a content creator and only play one game, in my opinion. And yeah, I think that kind of loops all back to just pushing yourself out and doing what you want to do. The passion's gonna show in the content that you make. Like you say, if you like beatboxing stuff, right, and you do reactions to it, people are gonna see that you actually enjoy it and you're not just doing it for views.
Right.
And I think that's a big thing. Like, if and that's the thing. Like, you can even test it. Like, if you have a game that you think might not do well, post one video on it out of the month and see how it does. If it does well, do a few more. Like, you're going to be playing it in the background anyway.
Yeah, I mean, and that's like, that's the advice that I give to people too. It's like, if you're more bothered something not working out and having to delete it rather than seeing if it works out, you're not in it for the right reasons. And I think that's, especially like on that, obviously, content creation and variety stream and all that, everybody kind of has their own, like, not really like opinions, but like different versions of what they think that is. But like, a very plain and simple one to me is like, if you're streaming all the time and you don't do nothing else, you don't post on YouTube, you don't do any of your other content and stuff, like people's like, oh, they're bashing me, oh, you want me to do what you want to do, not what I want to do. It's like, no, like I want to see you successful, and you streaming 15 hours a day every day is not making you successful. You're just streaming to get a paycheck. And it's like, it's pathetic, because like if I support someone, I want to watch them do what they enjoy. And a lot of creators that I see that only go live and do nothing else, you can see that they're just trying to, chase a bag and just find a way to kind of not do other things because they're difficult, or algorithms are involved, or, oh, I have to edit. Oh, I don't know how to do that stuff. And they make excuses. And that's the things that makes me upset, because you're sitting here appreciating me, like, oh, like when I joined NorCal Rising, like, oh, like, good job, Fee, you joined NorCal Rising. I'm so proud of, how far you've came. And it's like, a lot of people not really seeing how far I came, and it's like, that's kind of the thing, is like, if I'm going to appreciate you, you got to appreciate me. And I think that's a big thing, is a lot of people don't push themselves more than they need to.
Definitely. I think as well, like, content, like, you can... Streaming for 15 hours a day is all right for someone that's kind of already established, or already big in the community or known. But like the chances of you, like, say you're not growing streaming, right, the chances of being raided by a massive streamer, yes, it could happen, but it doesn't mean that suddenly that whole community is going to watch you every single day. And that's where content comes in really well. And I think that resonates a lot with what you're saying, in you want to see the people that you like on stream succeed. So if they do sort of short form content to say, hey, this is what we get up to on stream, more people might come in. And it's all part of that sort of multi content strategy, I guess. Having different platforms to supplement say your stream, if that's the main thing you want to do. But that's a perfect example of this is Marty, who we just spoke about. He was streaming for however long, and he had a good numbers on stream, obviously, but he realized he wasn't growing, so he stopped streaming. He only did content. He's grown from that. He's now full-time making content, which means he can just stream whenever he wants.
Yeah.
I mean, in my opinion, that's a good way to go. I'd sacrifice streams for a couple of months if it meant that I could go full time.
Yeah, no, 100%. I do the same thing too, and I think the reason why it makes me so mad when I'm watching some people just relentlessly streaming nothing else is because, like, when that does happen, we all know that when you get rated, no matter how big the number is, there's a good chance well over 80 to 90% is probably going to leave. And so to use that small little time interval, if you get rated and you're like, hey, my name is Feeds and we're live every day, and you have nothing else to talk about, like, oh, check out my YouTube, this is where I do my podcast, this is my reaction, this is who I am, and you don't have all those different avenues that people can check into your content, you're not marketing yourself well, and it's actually causing you to be a lot less successful in it, and it's your own fault. And that's thing, like, it makes me mad because, like, I want to see them succeed, but when they finally get to where they want to be, they don't have the different avenues where they can succeed in different places, and they're solely focused just on one thing. And if it doesn't work out, then what am I gonna do? And it's like, it's your own fault. And that's the thing that just, I don't know, man. It just makes me upset because I'm all about people succeeding and doing really well, but there's so many people that just say, oh, like, nobody comes by, oh, nobody appreciates my content or whatever. It's like, because you don't make content, man. Like, you have to get out there. We're all doing the same thing, and that's why I stopped doing COD content on YouTube. That's why I do my podcast, and that's why I have my beatbox reactions, because I don't enjoy it when I'm doing it on YouTube. I feel like I'm competing with other people and having a better video and getting compared to BAMs with my sniping and whatever else. I don't like that stuff. I don't like people egoing me, saying I'm better than somebody else. I want to be me,
Yeah, exactly. And that's the whole thing in this community. Like, you're kind of like a marketing executive for yourself. Like you say, if people can't tune into the streams, they're not going to know who Feeds is. Mm-hmm. Like, if you can on stream, if you can say, right, I've got a YouTube channel, I've got this, I've got that, they can find out who Feeds are. Oh, I do this podcast. Oh, that's awesome. He's spoken to all of these amazing creators. Mm-hmm. Like, it creates an ecosystem of who you are. And as well, a lot of people out there don't want to watch streams. Simply, like, obviously, I'm speaking on my behalf now as well. Like, I like watching streams, but a lot of the times, if I've got, like, editing, so maybe I've streamed for 2 to 3 hours, I've got editing to do. I'm not gonna sideline the editing to go and sit in someone's stream, which might sound really bad,
Mm-hmm.
but I want to sit there. I want to be consistent. I want to make the content, and then I'll go and watch streams. I'll go,
Yeah.
whoever's live at the time. Obviously, time zone dependent because I'm in the UK. But if someone's live, I'll go and hang out, or I'll try and build a relationship, or I'll network with their chat. But yeah, man. I mean, a lot of people that say they don't have time to do stuff, I just think like you're not using your time correctly.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean,
Well, I think. Sorry to interrupt. I
you're
think. Learning to edit and stuff is part of the reason I love this so much. Like learning a new trick or learning a new effect or learning like in the last few months, I've learned properly how to do like Call of Duty thumbnails and
Mhm.
the videos are definitely doing better. And it's just that sense of achievement, which I don't think I'd get if I sat and streamed for 10 hours a day.
100%. And it's like same thing with like with my situation. I mean, I know you work yourself too and stuff, and it's like with me, I work 8 to 5. I get home around like 5:30, and from 5:30 till about 7, I'll sit there and eat, and I'll just check in everybody. And I actually made a tweet. I think you may have seen it like a couple days ago about how I just said whoever needs to hear this, if you're streaming for 6 hours today, stream for 5. Take an extra hour and go and check it. And that's just, it's very important. And a lot of people's like, oh, like, thanks for the inspiration. It's like, it's not inspiration. It's just common sense that you should do if you want to support other people. I hate the stigma in the space to where you think people should support you if you don't support them. No, like, support isn't deserved, but if you are very clear that you're out for yourself, people are going to see that. And so that's very big for, like I said, that's something that I do a lot is I take at least a little over an hour when I get home to eat and stuff, and I just tap into streams. I'll be like, every stream, I'll be like 5-10 minutes. I've been in your streams plenty of times. I've been in so many other people, and I just like, hey, and most of the time I just say, hey, just checking in. And they'll either say, oh, appreciate you coming by, or they'll say, oh, thank you for coming by. How was your day today? And I'll be like, okay, yeah, like, my day was good, whatever. And I'll talk for just a few minutes. And it's those important little tiny intervals of engagements that allow you to succeed way more than you're knowing. And I think that success is looked at in a very wrong light. I feel like success is viewed by the community that you built, not by the type of numbers and goals that you're achieving.
Definitely. Like I would much rather have like 100 active viewers in a stream than 1,000 viewers, but only 100 of them are actually talking. If that makes sense.
Yeah, 100%.
It's always better as well. Like I feel like if people are in your stream and actually talking, like you have people to bounce off of. You have people to almost react to the game with too.
Yeah,
that didn't make sense, did it?
Yeah, it made sense.
You always have to have people to react to with the game.
Yeah,
I don't know if that makes sense.
I got you.
We're gonna run it. And yeah, sorry, I lost my train of thought now. What was I saying?
No, you're good. He was just talking about how having an active chatter just helps you enjoy the game more and kind of helps the stream.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and it just, like you say, it's building a engaged community is a lot better than just having a massive number, which, that maybe not everybody shares that view, which is completely fine. But yeah, I definitely agree with you on that.
Definitely. So yeah, we've talked about a lot of this stuff, getting into gaming, getting into streaming. So another question I usually ask everybody, I think it doesn't really matter, but to me personally, I think names are important. Having a background and where you came from and this persona that you're creating, because obviously like 98% of us are not our government selves. We're a persona of who we are in real life trying to proceed something. So how did Muggo come to be and where did the name Muggo come from?
So I'm not going to say it on stream, but it's basically a shortened version of my last name.
Mm-hmm.
But the way I got it is, my dad used to be in the army, and he had like a nickname which was Muggsy, and I was like, oh, that's quite cool. Obviously, I can't steal that.
Yeah.
But when I was in secondary school, I was like, oh, maybe I could get people to call me something different. Oh, let's try Muggo. And then that kind of stuck on, and then my YouTube channel actually used to be called Jack Muggo.
Mm-hmm.
Because my first name is Jack Muggo, blah, 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 and then it was like Jack Muggo Vlogs, but all that. But then, I thought it'd be cool if it was like, everyone that has a nickname tends to be something shortened of their last name, and I was like, I can't really copy my dad because, why would I do that? Oh, let's make it a different version, and it's literally that simple. And I thought, when I started going for teams and like organizations, I thought, you know what, I'm not going to be called like NorCal Jack Muggo because that doesn't sound right.
Yeah.
Let's just go with Muggo, and then whenever I introduce myself now, I say Muggo, unless they use their real name, because sometimes you can tell.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, pretty simple story, but that's the background.
Yeah, definitely. No, I mean, that's cool. Like I said, it's very important that you have something that goes long. And I know I just kind of wanted to spill how a lot of people don't have their government stuff in it. But I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. And obviously yours is fully. And it's kind of a still a unique way because, I mean, that is you. I mean, obviously, you know, whenever you get to where you're going. And that's why I say that for a lot of people, because a lot of people name themselves like Appleberry 76. And it's like, like,
oh, we've lost him. We've lost the feed to feeds. That's going to be cut.
No, there we go. Nope. I'm gonna leave it in because that's my fault. I'm gonna leave it in. But anyways,
raw content, ladies and gentlemen. Raw content. We love it.
But anyways, I like it. Really doesn't matter at the end of the day. But at the same time, it's like having a name that means something to you whenever you get to where you're going. I just think it just has a lot more meaning when you finally get to where you're trying to go.
Yeah, 100%, 100%.
So,
I'm going to ask you actually, how did feeds get feeds?
Sure. Yeah. I've said it a couple times. I don't really bring it up a lot. But yeah, so my name, I told you that I'm, very intrigued to COD Ghost. It was my favorite Call of Duty of all time. So my first and only ever name before feeds, it was so stupid. It was Random Gamer with 4 7s, and the letters were substituted with numbers. So like G4, M3R.
Right.
It was stupid. And so at the time I had just started getting into search and rescue. Fun fact, I actually hate search and destroy. I actually do not like search and destroy. I was a big fan of search and rescue. Anybody that's watching, if you don't know what search and rescue is, it's kind of like search and kill confirm combined. When you kill somebody, you have a tag that spawns. If the enemy takes that tag, you can't respawn. If your friend takes that tag, you do respawn.
Oh my god, I remember playing that on Ghosts.
Yeah, and so it was something I loved doing, and like sliding into tags and stuff to revive your friend and not get shot. It was just this whole era. So anyways, started playing with some friends, whatever, and started getting into sniping. Search and rescue, when I started sniping, it was like nowadays it's like, oh, it's last is trick shot. Back then it was, oh, it's last, let me hit a really cool quick scope. Like back then was just a much different time, and I would do that a lot. I would get reactions, I would get like triple kills and stuff and record them, like stuff I wouldn't use nowadays because standards have went up and stuff. But back then, I'd hit like, a collat kill or something, and everybody would react like crazy. And so I just loved sniping. And so one day I was playing a search and rescue lobby, and there was this whole like 6-man on the other team, and they was called XGN. It was called Exiled Gaming Network. It was a community clan back on the Xbox days. And I mean, there's probably more on Xbox, like PlayStation and stuff too. But it like not like talking bad about them, but they didn't really do anything. It was just kind of like a small like community team that just all got together and just had a quick game night, and you could just talk to people if you wanted to, and it was just kind of a little bit of a nice way to talk to people. So I played search and rescue, beat the guys, whatever, and I got invited to their party after the game was over. And it was like, hi, Random Gamer. And I was like, hi. And they was like, so do you want to be a part of us? I was like, I don't even know what this is. and so they started like explaining like, this is who we are, blah, blah, blah. I was like, okay, cool. And they was like, there's only one thing you have to do. And I was like, okay. And he was like, we're going to pick the best member within us, and you're going to 1v1 him. And if you beat him, you can join. I was like loaded up, like sure, because like back then I was cocky, I didn't care. Now I'm like humble, and I'm like, oh, 1v1s are pointless. But back then I was like, yeah, like 1v1 me, fuck it, like I don't care, like I'll wreck you, I don't care. So 1v1 them, beat him, whatever. And I just thought I was joining the team. And so when I beat him and the game was over, he's like, all right, cool, send me your email address, and I'm going to send you a 15 like points or whatever it was called, Microsoft card. And I was like, okay. And he was like, you have to change your name. I was like, why? And he was like, because you can't be a part of XGN if XGN's not in your name, dummy. I was like, I don't know. And so they was like, but the only thing about it, he said, before I send this over and you change your name, it can't be Random Gamer. And I was like, why? And he's like, that sounds stupid. I was like, yeah. I was just mad. I was like, I don't want to think of another name. So then I got to thinking about sniping and stuff like that, and then it hit me with kill feeds, and which I've said this a couple times. Again, no disrespect, because I know a bunch of kill feeds out there. I think it's just personally a dumb name. I don't like being called kill feeds. And so I was just thinking, I was like, oh, kill feeds are really cool. I love seeing my name in the feed. I love hitting quad feeds and stuff. And so that's when it hit me. It was like feeds. Like I love sniping. I love constantly hitting people, short intervals of time, hitting a clip. And that's where kind of feeds came from. And so I was XGN feeds originally. After I've been in quite a bit of teams throughout my time, but the notable ones when I first started was XGN, and then I ended up leaving like a couple months later because it ended up being just a dumb team, getting nowheres, and then I joined an old OG team called Samurai Squads. Which I think is still around nowadays. They're not too active, but back then they used to be a Skype team. That was the first and only ever Skype team that I was a part of,
Nice.
and that one really kind of set the tone for really like putting feeds kind of like in my place and really understanding the space and the community and clips and montages and stuff. But yeah, so that's where feeds came from.
Nice. It's a good little backstory. That it's a good thing you're good at sniping.
Yeah, yeah, that would suck. That would be awful. Yeah, but yeah, I mean, it's just something that's always stuck, and obviously, I mean, at a technical point, I'm called Feeds XD because Feeds is taken fucking everywhere I go. But yeah, we're Feeds XD just because it's taken. But yeah, I've been Feeds ever since, and that was back in 2016. That's when that was created. So yeah, sure. Thanks for asking that. Not a lot of people really ask me my side, which it don't really bother me. I've said it a bunch of times on past podcasts, but it's no big deal at all. But again, kind of going back on that same thing, I just think it's important that you have some type of backstory. Because I mean, even like I'm a kind of a prime example. Like there's definitely tons of goals that I still want to hit, but like NorCal Rising, something I was grinding for, and something that now me and you are both a part of being that NorCal community, and that's even kind of it. It's like little XGN feeds that was playing COD Ghost is now in a team that loves him and appreciates him, and that's doing content and montages and just a family, and that's something that little old me would have never thought in a gaming space that I would have, and it's just important. It's important because that was my background. That's how I came up. And now I'm here. So I just think it's important for everybody because it may seem dumb and simple thinking of a name and something simple for yourself right now, but it'll mean a lot whenever you get there.
Yeah, I completely agree, bro. Completely agree.
So yeah. So before we end off here, just 2 or 3 more questions that I wanted to bring up to you, kind of get your advice on. Before I talk about the 2 I usually talk about, I had mentioned something a little bit to you that you was intrigued about being. So you're from England, so you're in a different time zone and time space, and being a part of that, I feel like it's very normalized for everybody to have time differences and connection issues and ping difference and all that. But I don't think it's normalized to where people actually talk about it because there's really a lot of battles that come with being a part of such a different area. Because I mean, right now, like it's like close. It's like what, almost 10 o'clock for you. 10 o'clock.
It's 9:30 of them.
Yeah, and it's 4 o'clock for me. So it's like it's a big difference, So for you, how have you adapted to that? And I mean, I'm sure it had to be difficult going through those, especially ping differences. Obviously, I'm sure that's the biggest thing, lagging.
Yeah, I think ping definitely has definitely has a say in this. Like I play a lot with NorCal Kelvin, who is NA, I believe, and yeah, so whenever I play Warzone, I'm always on like 90 to 120 ping, which is why I'll blame that on the gunfights. But I guess as well, it's just like general timing things. Like it took like me and you, how long did it take us to get a time that both worked for us? Yeah, exactly, because it's so different. And as well, the community over here, the community in the UK is obviously big for gaming. Like, there's plenty of events, and they're really good. But there is actually getting like game time with people is a lot harder than you might imagine. I mean, obviously, fortunate enough in the NorCal family. Sorry, there's a few people in the UK. I actually knew Chike, who's in Rising. I actually knew him before all of this. So we've like been gaming for like maybe 4 or 5 years now. Jesus, 4 or 5 years now. But it's mainly just scheduling conflicts. Which obviously obviously I'm going to relate it to NorCal because it's mainly with like content stuff. But obviously a lot of the guys and a lot of the guys and girls, they have full-time jobs. So I can't say to them, oh, can you do it 5 hours earlier so I can join? They're like, no, because it's 3 p.m. and I'm at work, and I'm like, might have to sit out this
just
one.
calling to work.
Like,
okay, hey boss.
Yeah. I love that you picked up your mouse there, by the way. And that's the main thing. Like, honestly, ping, I can suck it up. So like, I'd much rather just play with the boys. I'll suck up the 100 ping or whatever, unless it's ranked. But it's mainly just scheduling conflicts more than anything. That being said, though, yeah, over here in the UK, the gaming scene is pretty big. Obviously, the World Series of Warzone final was over here, which I went to. That was awesome. A load of the knockout, like UK mob went, which was cool.
Nice.
But yeah, it's definitely it's definitely interesting, but you kind of just get used to it.
Yeah.
And I would definitely say I reckon I probably compromise more, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But I think that's because technically I'm like ahead.
Does it make you more excited when you're talking or playing with other creators that are in your same time zone?
Yeah, I mean it's more of a thing of I might actually get like more game time with you, or I might play better because I'm not lagging as much.
Yeah.
Like I played so Ace, who again is in he's in the knockout family. He did like a community night and I joined it, but I think he's in like Canada or something.
Yeah.
So I was on 160 ping and I was like, you know what, boys, I'm having a great time. I'm gonna have to call it here because I literally can't shoot anyone.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm sure, especially like with the ranked, I'm sure that is very annoying too. Because like with ranked, everybody's locked in, then you're like, oh, like I'm lagging, and then like a lot of people are like, like you kind of get in your head, it's like, oh, maybe he's not lagging, maybe he's just losing his gunfights, and Muggo's over here like, I'm freaking lagging.
Oh yeah, no, like it definitely, bro. That's what I literally don't even play. I won't play ranked unless either someone in the UK is hosting or I'm hosting. And that's part of the reason why I haven't really touched it too much. On the first release, I'll probably play it more in season 2 because there'll be more time. But I don't want to solo queue because that's never a good time. That's never a good time.
Yeah,
but,
I understand.
Yeah.
So we've talked about that, obviously. So the next one that I bring up, this is obviously my podcast is really focused on mental health and taking breaks and stuff like that. And we've talked a little bit about it during this time here today. So there's obviously a lot of creators out there, everybody has their own battles, whether it's the game they enjoy, the content they're posting, their in real life situations, work, sleep, whatever it may be. A lot of people have different difficulties, whether it be time managing their content or just in general, maybe they're just not enjoying it. And there's a lot of people that really, if they just had a small little mental reset for just a couple weeks or something, it would probably solve a lot of their problems. But a lot of people are like, oh, like if I leave, nobody's going to want to see me back. Nobody's going to come back. I'm going to lose everything that I built. So for your advice, people that want to take breaks, but they're afraid of if it causes repercussions, what would your advice be to them?
I think, I mean, I've said this quite a few times just in general, but gaming is phenomenal. Making content is phenomenal. Like through gaming, you make friends for life, whether you think about it or not. That being said, your like offline person is much more important than your online person. Like realistically, the people watching your videos and your streams, if you need to take a week or 2 or a month, however long you need, like they're gonna support you if they really support you. Do you know what I mean? Like your mental health or even just burnout in general is like dealing with that is much more important than posting every day.
Yeah.
And obviously some people don't see it like that. Maybe some people struggle to come to terms with I'm gonna lose this many numbers or I'm not gonna generate this many views. But realistically, like it will just get worse. As bad as it says, like you need to look after yourself. I think your person is a lot more important than say your operator on Call of Duty.
Yeah, definitely. No, I agree. So what about with people? So networking obviously is perceived in many different ways. A lot of people have different definitions of networking. To me, obviously, it's just mainly about supporting and just trying to make sure that, in my eyes, me personally, I just try to not be selfish. I always want to be there for people. I always want them to know they could reach out to me, support them when I can. Like I told you, I usually take an extra hour out of my day after work to just check up solely on people. So for you, what is your kind of, not really like like a book definition, but like what is networking to you, and what advice would you give to creators maybe that are either new or that struggle connecting with others?
I think there's two sides to creating. I think there's creating networking. Sorry.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's like the personal side of it, which is more um you just kind of networking or just even just talking to and engaging with your community, people in your community, whether that be liking tweets, spending half an hour scrolling through your hashtag on TikTok, so like hashtag Call of Duty or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing on YouTube, just kind of like what you say, just supporting content, getting your name out there a bit. But like actually mean it. Like don't click on a video that you're not going to enjoy.
Yeah.
You want to build a network and an ecosystem of people that maybe you could chat to them in future, maybe you can collab in future, maybe you could say, hey, that's really cool, how can I implement something like that into your content and better yourself. And then I think the other side of that is the brand aspect. So like, how do I explain this? As much as I am Muggo the person, I'm also Muggo the brand. So
Mm-hmm.
like that side of things is, if there's a company you really want to work with, just make sure you're active on their tweets. Um, if you can reach out to people that maybe are already sponsored by them, and talk to them, maybe get some tips what you can do better. And most people in the community are more than happy to help each other. Like I get people DMing me. I won't say it's like every day because it's not, but every now and then, obviously more than happy to impart my wisdom.
Yeah.
Because like who am I to gatekeep? Do you know what I mean? And yeah, I think that's kind of the main two pillars of networking. I would say it's definitely a scary thing to do. Like I'm still not, I definitely don't DM as many people as I should. And I don't live, I should live by the philosophy of you might just get ignored, which is completely fine. But I would
Yeah.
say like 9 times out of 10, you probably won't, unless you're like DMing like Nick Merckx. Do you know what I mean? But like
He's not
people in your
replying to me,
community,
man.
yeah, yeah. Who does this guy think he is?
Sent him 3 times.
Yeah. No, it's definitely a daunting thing, but it will, in the long run, it will help out. Like there's a guy on TikTok called Meds. He's just joined Delirium.
Mm-hmm.
When he started on TikTok, he DM'd me. He was like, "Oh, I really like your content. We should run some games sometime." And I was like, "Yeah, sure, bro. Let's do it." We played some games, and now, we still talk quite regularly. But he's doing awesome, and his community is awesome, and it's just like I can learn things off him now, or I can help him with the YouTube side of things. He can help me with TikTok. Like it's just about building that ecosystem. And as much as it's scary, like the worst thing you're gonna get is a no,
Yeah.
or completely ignored. To be
Yeah.
fair, but
Definitely. So it kind of takes me to my last question. I usually I don't know if I've really asked this specific question on many of my podcasts, but I don't know how many new creators are out there. It's kind of hard because like I wouldn't really say that there's a lot of new creators out there. I just feel like there's a lot of creators that just struggle with starting and getting up, and they don't have the right equipment, or they don't have the people, or they're just afraid to click live, or they don't know what to do. And you said you've been around since 2011, of course, bits and pieces throughout the time, but I think you, out of a lot of creators that I've had on here, have a little bit more of an advantage because you've been around for a lot longer than some of us, kind of like myself, because I've been here since 2016, so for your advice for creators that are either new or that still just kind of haven't started out, what advice would you give to them to start creating content and getting themselves out there?
if it's something that you enjoy, if gaming is something that you enjoy and it's something that you wanna, or just content creation in general, it doesn't have to be gaming. If you want to
Mhm.
pick up a camera and vlog, do that. But um, if it's something that you're passionate about, it will show in the content. Even if, say, you don't have the equipment, just give it a go, and then it kind of the equipment side of things where you like upgrade your setup or you upgrade your camera or you get this, you get that bit of lighting. That's part of the fun. It's like, okay, this is what I started out as. This is what I want to get to. How do I get there? And it's the sense of achievement you get when you see your content getting better is phenomenal. And eventually you get to a point where you found your style. And I think just giving it a go, like if you do it and you don't enjoy it, you can delete it. But if you do it, you find out you enjoy it, carry on doing it. And I
Yeah.
think, yeah, definitely. I'm definitely a firm believer of if you're passionate about creating content, it will show in the content that you're creating, because you're not going to go live and then, I don't know, you're not going to go live and not talk for 2 hours. Do you know what I mean? You're going live because you want to share your experience, but you want to talk to people in chat. And it's the same with creating content. You're not going to stand there and be monotone all day. You're going to be really hyped about what you're doing because you enjoy it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just about following your dreams. Like, if it makes you happy, do it. Don't. Obviously, a lot of people in the world give negative comments about things, but if you enjoy it and it makes you happy, honestly, fuck them and just do it. Enjoy yourself.
Yeah.
Enjoy it. Enjoy any type of content. It doesn't matter what it is.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely agree. I think that's the biggest important factor. It's something that's obviously very underrated and something a lot of us kind of hear. Same thing, just like where you saying like, oh, DM somebody, worst they can say no, and like we used to be like, oh, like worst they can say is no, blah blah blah. But like it is, like it's that harsh reality. It's things that like we believe but we don't, and it's something that I say all the time. Like my biggest thing for me personally, like I really don't complain about things. I just kind of see the world for what it is, and I just do it, whether it's work, whether it's bills coming up, whether it's a YouTube video I have to record. I just do it because I know that complaining about it is not going to make me feel any better that it's not done. And that's just kind of the harsh reality, is like it's not going to happen unless if you make it happen. And I think there's just a lot of people that need that wake up call, and I mean that in like the most respectful way possible. I don't mean that in a rude way, but it is at the end of the day. Like you can have friends, you can have people that are like brothers and sisters to you, but at the end of the day, you have yourself, and all those other people are just additives to your life that you're creating.
100%. I 100% agree. I think it's just you have to look after yourself. You have to enjoy yourself. Whether you believe if you get one life or not, it's kind of here nor there. Just enjoy the now, and if you want to create content, just do it. Yeah. And I would say as well, with the whole getting negative comments or not getting replies on DMs, there's definitely a point in your content creation journey when you kind of realize, okay, they're not, you kind of get to a point where you accept it might not dishearten you as much.
Yeah.
We're not saying like do it and don't get upset, but it's all a learning curve. And once you get to a point where, I mean, I think I'm at a pretty good point where I'm happy with everything that I'm doing, just love it. I just love it.
Yeah, I agree.
And everything was worth it.
Yep. So before we end off today, is there anything that you have coming up that you're excited to share with anybody?
I think the main thing at the moment is Season 2's coming out February 7th, I believe, for Call of Duty. They're bringing back Fortune's Keep, which is fantastic. I'm super excited for that. Streams are going to be good. I'm excited to create some content on it. I'd say that's probably the main thing. There's some other stuff that I think is in the works. Not 100% confirmed, so obviously not going to jinx it. But if that's in the works, then the next couple of months could be very interesting.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I'm excited for it. I mean, obviously, and we've kind of already talked about me and my takes on Warzone. Obviously, I don't care a whole lot for it, but I know that it's very huge for the community of Warzone. I know that means a lot to them because, I mean, realistically, I don't want to go in a whole other conversation, but Warzone was game changing, whenever it first came out.
Oh, mate, you could do a whole podcast on that.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy. I wish I was your guy for that, but I don't know a whole lot about it. That's just not my genre. But my heart goes out to all of them, and I truly hope anybody that's in that space does enjoy it. And I'm sure that everybody's super excited for it.
I bloody hope it's good too, mate.
Yeah. So, Muggo, before we end off in here, anybody that is watching, do you have any last words you want to say to anybody before we end off?
I think just highlighting the last point that we had, just have fun with content and just, enjoy yourself with it. It will definitely show. And obviously look after yourself as well. But if you want to do content, enjoy it. Yeah,
definitely. All right, guys. Well, that has been episode 38, I think. I hope I don't forget that. I probably butchered it. but yeah, guys. So that is it. I appreciate you guys. Thank you for watching me and Muggo's Bad Math. Go check him out. His link is below his head. His Twitter handle is below his head and on the description. Appreciate you guys for watching. Thank you so much. This has been Feeds Mindset. My name is Feeds, and I'm out, guys. Peace.